Liverpool 1, Chelsea 1, it's finished today. Much improved performance from a Chelsea perspective. Um, Again, not the win we was looking for, but it's finally, an end to 6-game losing streak, which needed to happen. In terms of the game itself, opening 15 minutes from the Chelsea point of view was poor, very poor from Chelsea. Again, very poor start to the game. Terrible defending. No one's marking their player. Defence is all over the place. Gravenberch's got way too much time, way too much space on the ball. Gets a really, really good strike, really, really good goal. And again, no one goes to him. No one puts in the challenge. And Jorgensen needs to be saving that as well, really. But Liverpool get themselves 1-0 up. But slowly but surely, Chelsea do work our way back into the game. And like I say, we did actually start to play quite well. We set up with a different. McFarlane set us up with a different system today, which was interesting. 5 changes from the Nottingham Forest game, which did need to happen because it didn't work in that game. We usually play in a 4-2-3-1. Today we go in a more diamond formation. We've played 3-4-2-1. So with a back 3 or a back 5, it can alter between the two. We've set up with today. Jorgensen has to start in goal, enforced through Sanchez injury. Between them, I'm not really sure which is the best option at the moment, to be honest. Not been happy with either. Great to see Colwell back in the team, and it was a good performance from him today. Finally, he gets his first start of the season after that lengthy injury, and there was a bit of a moment of concern where he went down with an injury in the second half, but he was able to eventually play on, and it didn't look like anything too serious. So it's very good to have him back for the end of the season. He played very well today because we need someone better to go in that defence. So that was good today. And we had Hato and Fofana as the other centre backs. There were some shaky moments from the defence, but overall today better than what we have seen in recent weeks. Gusto and Cucurella play as fullbacks, and they played. And Cucurella, a good performance from him today. We'll talk about him in a minute. I thought his crossing wasn't great, and I thought he did lose the ball on a few occasions, but. And Casado and Andrew Santos in that midfield. Palmer starts for us as well. And João Pedro, of course, for one of the first names on the team sheet at the moment, and Enzo as well. And like I say, we work our way back into it, and it's a bit of a, maybe a bit of a fluke, but the goal we got was quite something actually. Enzo crosses the ball in, but it doesn't leave the floor. It just almost like sneaks around the Liverpool wall. None of the Liverpool players get anything on it. The goalkeeper can't really see it coming. Fofana thought he might have got a touch on it, but it looked like it didn't. It looked like it just went straight in from Enzo. So what a way to get ourselves back in the game. And from that moment, Liverpool were really hanging on. And that's the only thing for Chelsea is if we could have got ourselves in front in the first half, I think that would have been big going into the break. At 2-1 up, Anfield was a place that we haven't won at for a while, and it felt like there's a real opportunity there. It felt like Liverpool were there for the taking, and it did become quite a good game of football. 2 teams that have had disappointing seasons that are not doing great at the moment, and I think that can sometimes create a good game because, like I said, Liverpool were making quite a lot of mistakes, and I thought we was as well. I thought there was a lot of mistakes in this game, and some good individual performances from certain players, but certainly was definitely a game that had mistakes in. So it went into the break 1-1, and should have been 1-0 down in that game. I was really worried it would just be another game like the ones we've had recently, exactly like the Nottingham Forest game, but it wasn't. We managed to get ourselves back into this one. Usually what happens when we go behind is we fall apart or we can't get ourselves back into it. Brighton scored early. We got battered by them. Nottingham Forest scored early. We got battered by them. You see the theme. And then, but today, no, much more impressive. It was a big game. I think we was up for it. It definitely bodes well going into the cup final next weekend, having not going in off a defeat, off of going into that on a better performance, even though it's not the win, even though we're still 7 games without the win. And I'm a little bit disappointed to only come away with a draw because I do think we could have won. I felt like we had chances to win, particularly in that second half, the way it started. Obviously, Palmer getting us in front as well, and the offside felt very harsh on Cucurella. I honestly thought that was a harsh one. They said it was the way he was sort of almost leaning in too early, but they're very harsh to disallow that. But then Liverpool did also have that offside, just not long afterwards, really. But I think if they're going to chalk that off, Curtis Jones' goal, which is a really well worked goal as well, by the way, I think if they're going to chalk the Chelsea one out, I think they have to chalk the Liverpool one off as well, really, because there wasn't too much of a difference, really. I don't think there's many arguments, really, about many of those decisions, but disappointing still, because it did feel like it was a bit hard done by as we got ourselves in front right at the start of that half. But we did, yeah, because we continued to play well. I maybe would have hoped a bit more, maybe a bit more of a direct push at the Liverpool goal, seeing as they clearly have mistakes in them. They made a lot of mistakes there. It's giving the ball away a lot. And we did as well. We had a moment, but there was a lot of times where I felt like where we could have gone out and maybe a bit more in that second half, especially as they sort of started to control the game a bit more in the final sort of quarter of the game or so. And then I think in the end it was a case of both teams sort of settled for the point, edges Liverpool closer to Champions League. Our chances of the top six or of European football are very slim now through the league, at least anyway. Still got the cup final to come, which is season defining really. That's what our season's on really now. But it's good to go into that off the back of a much better result. And we have to just start scoring again in the league. We have to end this bad run. We need to get this win soon, and hopefully that will be coming up in the next league game. But well, there's a lot in terms of the bigger picture. There's a lot still going wrong at Chelsea. These owners, there's a lot of their recruitment's been terrible. The way they've gone about the managerial appointments has been terrible, and the biggest concern really right now is whether they will give the manager that we need like a manager that's going to come in, and whether they'll let the manager leave, like, because that's clearly been the problem so far, is that these owners like to dictate, they like to get involved, they won't let the manager just like have enough of a say on his team, and I think that's what they're going to have to do here. They're going to have to that is my concern. Will they hire a manager that they will and give them the freedom to actually make the decisions and actually over in terms of who we sign, who we sell, these big decisions that the previous managers under these owners have not had enough freedom over. But yeah, and say Reece James back properly from injury. It's good to see ahead of the cup final and also the World Cup as well. It's and real shame about Jesse Derry's injury last week, because he's playing well. He was lively. He was from minute one. He was one of the biggest attacking threats we had on the pitch against Nottingham Forest. So to lose him like that was very disappointing. But hopefully we'll see him back very soon. And well, like I said, it was better. It was a better performance. And yes, I think there is some frustration the fact we didn't get the win. Maybe from a Liverpool point of view, it was like that as well, though, because it did feel like both teams had mistakes in them. And it's a game where maybe neither team capitalised as much as they could have done. There maybe could have been more in that second half for both teams. I felt there could have been more goals for both, but I think they come to a point in the game where I think both teams are playing relatively safe, just to avoid defeat and just to avoid making the situation that both of us got ourselves into any worse. But like I say, we may create some of these different mistakes in that second half. I thought the pressing was good. I thought, like I said, he got it right tactically today, McFarlane, much more like the Leeds game when we saw in the Cup semi-final, and there's a similar setup today, so I think clearly it's obvious what we've got to do in the Cup final. I really am hopeful. That's the next game we've got now. Let's just hope that on the day against Manchester City, we know how difficult it's going to be, but we play them at a good time. We play them when they're in that title race as well. They're still hanging on in that. They've got games either side of us coming up thick and fast, so hopefully maybe we can just do something in that Cup final and we can maybe get the win there. But as for this game, taking it game by game, there's a lot I liked about that performance today. A lot of big decisions need to be made over the summer, and that's what I think these last games are all about, really. The last few games of this season, deciding who's going to stay and who needs to be moved on. But in the end, we'll have to settle for a 1-1 draw there. Both teams have to settle for the draw. More big games coming up now, more in terms of how this affects the European race. A lot of teams now have the chance to capitalise on Chelsea. So we'll see how that all works out, and I'll see you again very soon.